Hello and welcome to your final. So be sure you listen to all the directions, and I'll just kind of read through these and maybe give you a hint every now and then on there. There are a couple that I'm going to have you skip because of time, and then I will put them at the end. If you have time, you can finish those, but I want you to have time to listen to the video and do your work. So the first one is simplify, and be sure your answer contains only positive exponents. So I'm asking you to remember the rules of exponents. So what do you do when you multiply exponents together? Okay, so that's what I'm asking you. What do you do when you need to divide? And what do you do when you have a power to a power? And the last one is, what do you do when you have a negative in the exponent? So you're going to be applying those three rules to this problem. So pause the video and work out your answer. Okay, number 2, I'm asking you to evaluate each expression. Be sure you show each step. And you're not allowed to just plug it into the calculator, so I need to see steps. So again, we're doing our order of operations. So when you do order of operations, what comes first all the time, and then second and third and so forth. Again, pause the video and do that problem. Number 3, you're going to evaluate each expression. Okay, so I want to know when I ask for what is g of 3, what is the answer? So look at where the 3 is located in relationship to your original expression. Pause the video and do the problem. Okay, number 4, you're just going to solve each equation. So you have 8 times the quantity 3 plus 8k equals a negative 8 times the quantity 7k minus 3. Pause the video and solve the problem. Number 5. Now again, remember, at any time you can go back and cursor back and rewatch the video. So number 5, again, you're just solving. So 7 times the quantity n minus 3, and then you're going to subtract 5 from that, equals 2 plus 7 times the quantity of n minus 4. Now, be very careful when you're doing your distributive property, and be sure you're showing all your work, moving your numbers from one side of the equation to the other. Pause the video and do your work. Number 6, this is a 2-part problem. You need to first solve the compound inequality, and then when you're done, you're going to graph the answer. Okay, so first you're going to solve it. Remember, if you need to, you can break it into 2 equations, that half, and then when you're done with that half, you can break this half. Okay? And when you're done, again, you're going to come over and graph. So don't forget to graph. Pause and work the problem. Number 7 is, again, 2 problems. So you need to do this half of it and this half of it. It is 2 problems. The last thing that you have to remember is, what does the word or mean in our answer? Again, you're going to solve and you're going to graph. Number 8, this asks you for several different things. So the first thing is, you need to determine whether your graph is continuous or discrete. So you just need to come over here and circle one of those, whichever one it is. Think about what the definition of discrete is and the definition of continuous. The next one is, determine if it is a function or not. So all you need to do is come over and circle yes or no. The last step is you're going to give the domain and the range. Again, remember the definition of domain and the definition of range. Pause and work the problem. Number 9. We're going through the same steps. This one again, I want to know, is it a continuous or discrete graph? Just circle which one it is. Is it a function? Yes or no. Then you're going to write the answer in 2 different forms, inequality and interval notation. So remember, your inequality is when you have your greater than or less thans. Your interval is your bracket and your parenthesis and maybe even a negative infinity or positive infinity. Also be very careful. This is an arrow on the end here. Darken that so you can see a little bit better. Then you're going to do the range the same way. Both notations. Pause and work the video for the problem. Number 10. This one you are going to sketch the graph. And I want to know, starting off, what point is given in the equation that the line goes through. So remember, we have talked about our point slope form. Okay, so don't forget that form. So what point does the graph go through? Give me that answer over here, and then come to your graph and then actually graph the problem. Okay, and usually I ask for slope. I forgot to do that, but if you want to give me that, you can. Pause and work the video. Watch the. Okay, your next one is you're going to be doing a linear inequality. Okay, so don't forget, when our inequalities, we have to decide, is it a dotted line or a solid line? And then we have to determine where we're going to shade. Okay, so you can either do this actually, I'm going to change your problem real quick. And I forgot to, I'll change it on the other guys' test. But make this, instead of a -15, just a -5. Okay, -5. Please change that. That way it'll work on your graph a little better. Okay? So once you're done graphing, then you need to tell me a point that is in the solution, just one point, and then find me a point that's not in the solution. Pause and work the video. I don't know why I keep saying video. Pause and work the problem. Okay, our next one is you're going to solve by graphing. So again, remember we are y equals mx plus b format. Okay, which one is your slope and which one is your y-intercept? So graph both problems, and then you need to come over here and tell me where they cross. Give me that point, okay? Pause and work the problem. Okay, so the next one we are going to be doing is sketching the solution of a system, okay? That means we're going to be working 2 of these on one graph. Again, remember, dotted or solid line, shade, okay? So both of them will be shaded, and then you need to figure out where they cross. Now what it says is put a large S in your answer, okay? So where they have something in common, put a large S. The next is name a point that is in the solution, so that is in that large S area, and name a point that is not in that solution. Pause and work the problem. Okay, number 4. I am changing your instructions for you just a little bit, okay? I want you to write the equation for those line going through those points in either of the forms, okay? You do not have to write it in all form. So whichever form you prefer. So remember, when you have 2 points, we need to know a couple of things. We need to know our slope as our first step. And then you're going to take it from there to determine which one of these you want to use to find the rest of your equation. Pause and work the problem. This problem we are going to skip for now. If you have time, you can come back to it. Okay, our next one is we are again going to write an equation. This tells you to write it in slope-intercept form. So don't forget slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. And it has to fit this criteria. So it goes through this point, and it is parallel to this equation, parallel to that equation. So what does the word parallel tell you about this problem? Pause and work the problem. Okay, we are going to skip number 17. Again, if you happen to have time, you're welcome to come back in and redo it. Number 18, you are going to solve an absolute value equation. Now remember what I told you the rules are when you're solving absolute values. Okay, be sure you get that absolute value by itself first, and then determine how many equations you need. Pause and work the problem. Number 19. This one, again, it's an absolute value, but it's an inequality. So again, it's very similar to the last problem. Just remember, since it is an inequality, your second equation is going to look a little bit different. You have to do something different on there, so don't forget that piece. Pause and work the problem. Okay, number 20 and 21, I'll just go over them both. Remember, these are the absolute value graphing that we have done. Remember, our absolute value graphing is very similar to our linear, except it does have an absolute value there. And remember, we actually took that and we changed it by putting the y to the other side. Okay, I'll put a 2 there, okay? We move that y over to the other side. So don't forget what I told you about the fact that that one has a minus in front of it and this one has a plus in front of it. So you are going to give me the vertex that you can read directly from your equation, graph that, determine the slope also from your equation, and then does it open up or down? Remember how we talked about finding whether it opens up or down, and you can just circle up or down. You're going to do exactly the same thing for number 21, but I do want you to listen to directions here. I am changing this for everyone, okay? This needs to be a -2, okay? We're going to do it with a -2, not a +2. Find the vertex, find the slope, and tell me if it opens up or down. Pause the video and work 20 and 21. Okay, number 22. We are solving by substitution. So remember, substitution is where we put one equation into the other. So in this case, I know that y equals 3x minus 2. And I know the equation 4x plus 2y equals -14. So where am I going to substitute? Pause and work the problem. 23, we are going to be doing this by elimination. Remember, elimination is where we want to have the same coefficient out in front of either our x or our y. Usually requires you to do some kind of multiplication. And remember, the signs have to be the opposite. Pause and watch the video. Pause and work the problem. Jeez. 24. This is our story problem, so listen carefully to what I read to you. The indoor climbing gym is a popular field trip destination. This year, the senior class at High School A and the senior class of High School B both planned trips there. The senior class of High School A rented and filled 7 vans and 2 buses. There was a total of 117 students. High School B rented 14 vans, only 1 bus, and there was 132 students. So it says that every van has the same number of students and every bus has the same number. How many students can the van carry and how many students can the bus carry? Now again, remember our work that we have to do. First, we're going to identify our variables. Okay, so what does X and Y stand for? Then we're going to write our equations. If you need to listen to me read the problem again, I can. Then we are going to show our work on how we get our answer, and then you need to give me an answer with its label. Okay, tell me what each answer stands for. Pause and work the problem. Okay, 25, we are going to skip. Again, it's an easy one to come back to later, but let's skip it for now. Number 26, you are just going to, it says, write undefined for the expressions that are undefined. So for any of these, if you cannot do them, write undefined. You also need to state the dimensions for each matrix and state the dimensions for the answer if possible. Okay? So on number 26, you're going to be subtracting those. So just right here underneath, if you would, tell me what are the dimensions of both of those and can you subtract? If you can subtract, then you need to subtract and give me the answer. Be very careful with the negative. Number 27. I'm just going to kind of read through these two here. So 27 is just a scalar multiplication. You just need to take 4 times that matrix. If you can do it again, you're just going to come over here and give me the answer. Pause and work those two. 28. This is a multiplication. This one is A and this one is B. The first thing that I need you to do is give me the dimensions of A, then give me the dimensions of B, and then if you can multiply those two, I need to know the answer, the dimensions of my final answer. Okay? The next thing that we're going to do, we're not going to work the whole problem. I only want you to do the dimensions of 3, 1. 3, 1. Okay? So I would come over here to your problem, and if this works, find 3 and 1, and just show me the work. Okay? So right here, show me the work. Whoops. Okay, show me the work. How would you set it up and then do it? Pause and do that. Okay, number 29, we are going to solve by Cramer's rule. Okay, remember Cramer's rule uses only the determinants. Okay, and for you, on this one, I only want you to find the determinant for the original A and for X. We're not going to find Y. So let's simplify this down. Just the two, okay? A and X, just to forget about finding your Y value. That'll save you one step.
Good afternoon, Jason Mount Carmel.
Pause and work that problem.
Confessions will be heard after school, and also a reminder that basketball plays at Bishop Carroll this evening.
I'll go ahead and tell you this one real quick. This is solve each system by elimination,
In the name of the Father, and of the
or you
Son,
can do
and
it
of the
by
Holy
Cramer's
Spirit.
rule.
Amen.
But I would just do it by elimination.